Arise, queens. This is the All Queens Army, where women are provided with the tools you need to overcome your fears, face your flaws, and experience breakthroughs as you develop self-esteem so strong you emanate royalty. Now, for your host and commander of the All Queens Army, Breizy Time.
Welcome to the All Queens Army podcast. This is your girl, your host, Breizy Time. I am here today with another dope episode for the queens. Yes, ma'am. And guess what? I have one of the cutest guests here with me today. I'm so excited to talk to her, y'all. I've known this cutie patootie for a minute now, y'all. Listen, we getting old, y'all, God damn it. But I've known this young woman since high school, and we have Jonean on the show, also known as Lil Jody. So welcome to the show, Joni.
Hey.
So I'm excited. I actually reached out to you a couple weeks, maybe even a month ago.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I definitely wanted to have you on the show. So once I started planning season 2, I was like, oh, I got to get my bookie on the show, honey, because this baby is hustling.
Yes.
So I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about some of the things that I've admired with Joni and watching her do is the first thing, a couple years ago, she wrote a book, and I actually, of course, I supported her, and bought one of her books. So I'm going to tag her book. If I can find it on Amazon, y'all, I'm going to tag it so you guys can check it out. It's called Checkmate. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about her other business that she recently started, Lyfe Publications. Listen, y'all, the queens be hustling, okay? The queens be hustling.
Yes.
So Lyfe Publications, I'm going to have her talk about that as well, which is super, super exciting. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, but we're going to roll the conversation into talking about the men in the streets, honey. The men in the streets. So what made me ask Joni to be on the show was one, because I really did want to big her up on all of her successful ventures and everything, and just the fact that she really does bust her ass. Okay. So she's still working full time. She has a son. So she's a mom. She's a single woman, and she's an entrepreneur as well. So y'all know I love to talk to the queens who doing all of those things, right?
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about just relationship struggles, right? Cause child, I be reading her posts on social media and laughing at her struggles with the single life, right?
Lord.
So I'm sure some of you queens in the queendom can relate to just the struggles with relationships and dating and men and the lies, honey. But so we're going to be talking about that. So y'all will definitely be entertained. So stay tuned for that. But before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about Checkmate? Like what made you write that book and the inspiration behind it?
Yes. I was in a chess club when I was in the 3rd grade, and I had already started a first book, and it was called According to My Will, and that was pretty much 80% my life. But when you first come out with a book, that's what people are expecting anyway. So they are reading and trying to pick out who's who in the book and all that. So I said, you know what? And I was standing there watching my cousins play chess, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna write a book about chess, but related to real life. So I had a chess Bible, and I would take the definitions of the pieces or the terminology, and then I just made the characters come to life in the book. And my cousin, he died he actually got killed right before the book was coming out. So I dedicated it to him because he, like the king of chess, he played chess all day, every day. So I just went on ahead and dedicated the book to him. And I was kind of nervous when I put it out. And as far as that's where I got Lyfe Publications, Lyfe, and it stands for Literature You'll Find Everywhere.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it was crazy because I was playing my little scratch offs. It was some scratch offs called Lyfe, and you had to collect the L, the I, the F, and the E. And then with my Lyfe Publications, I had a word. I said, Literature You'll Find. It was so ironic that I needed an E for the scratch offs, and then I needed an E for my company. And I was just sitting there. And then time I found the E for the scratch offs to mail it and try to win the second chance, I was sitting in I was working at PNC, and we had a separate drive-through away from the bank. And I was asking my coworker, and I said, I I need an E. I was like, literature you'll find. Literature you'll find. And I was like, Luke, can you help me come up with an E word? And he was like, well, what you got so far? I said, literature you'll find. And he was like, everywhere. And I mean, he said it like it was nothing, right? But I screamed so loud and was hugging him and like, yes.
That was it.
Yeah. And he was like, but it was something that small.
Right.
You know, and he just was like everywhere. I was like, wow, yes. And I'm just screaming because I was doing, you know, a self-publishing company and I didn't want to be stereotyped as just hood books.
Right.
You know, so when I said literature you'll find everywhere, that was whether it was romance, fiction, nonfiction, comedy, drama, you know, anything. And I wanted to be able to have my self-publishing company be able to help people put out any type of book.
Right.
And then this is why I said God already has your steps ordered, because Lyfe Publications, I still use that into my business that I'm in now, and it still fits. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's still literature you'll find everywhere.
Right.
It's still literature on obituaries.
Right.
It's still literature. And a lot of people thought that Lyfe Publications was because of the obituaries, but that was already made with my publishing company. And I was like, well, wow. This is Lyfe, you know, the obituaries, this is Lyfe, and it is a publication of somebody's life. Right. But it still plays a part. So I didn't have to change my business name, and all of that still is, I mean, it's just all lined up. It was just like a domino effect. It's just amazing because after the book thing, I just had my hands in a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I owe it all to God though. I can't, you know what I'm saying? It's just amazing how all of this is in my little 5'2". I'm probably like 157. I don't know. But I'm just like a powerhouse, you know, and like I said, I owe it all to God because 12, 13 years ago, they were telling my mom I wasn't going to make it through the night. Right. You know, when I got diagnosed with lupus. So I just said all of that to pretty much say whatever ailment you end up diagnosed with or whatever, you can't let it take you under, because the moment you start thinking negative, that's when everything going to go that way. Yep. But I was that one who told my doctor, oh no, I'm coming up out of this like I never had anything. And once you keep that positive mind, it's just, I mean, I've had all these different successes. The only thing is that love area, that
girl.
Oh,
isn't it hard?
Oh, it's crazy. Stars. And they come with so many different masks. And
who, the men?
The men. And I've noticed that they listen to you to see where you hurting from or what you, and then they dwell on that and they do everything. Everybody starts off as a salesman. Right. You know, and it's just like, you gotta sell yourself. Yep. So you gonna come with all of the roses, the cars, the this and the that. And then, okay, now that you done bought the product, now it's customer service.
Right. It's funny that you say that because that to me was my life for a long time. It was like pretty much mostly everything was on the up and up. But the love department, baby. Oh, I was struggling. And now that the love department is cool, now it's another like part of my life that I'm like now trying to transition into full entrepreneurship. Right. I just think it's always something. It's like once you get one part of your life straight, now you're working on something else. But yeah, so I definitely want to talk about that because listen, baby, the struggle is real with the dating. Real. So before we jump into that though, I had one other question I wanted to ask you about Lyfe Publications. Okay. So one of the other things that I was, that I watched you do that I thought was so dope was that you, went out and you hustled up and funded your print machine, right? For your business.
The GoFundMe page.
Yeah. So what was that like? And I'm asking you that because there's so many women. Women DM me, email all the time because of the podcast, and they want to know, how do you get started? Like what is it that gets you started? Like, is it the money that you need? Is it this? You know how sometimes you want to do something, but you just can't get it. Like you can't get it going. You're just stuck in the planning and the research phase, but you're not.
Planning and procrastination look so much alike.
Yeah, it is to me. It's like, it's only so much planning and research you can do. Right. You got to just do it, right?
You got to jump out there.
But I admired that because I was like, look at my baby just jumping out there and just telling people, look, this is what I want. And it's like, when you put that in the universe, and you push your your like put all your effort into it, you're able to manifest what you wanted. So tell us a little bit about like that.
Okay.
You know, what you were doing with that.
Yeah. So since 2006, I did my first obituary, but I never really put it out there that I did obituaries. I got around by word of mouth, and I never really looked at the pay, you know, the money side of it, because it was something that I liked to do, and I was just helping people that were in need, and the funeral homes were, you know, charging extremely high prices and stuff. So the guy who printed my Checkmate for me, I built a rapport with him. So he would get the business, you know, and he would print. And then after years went by, and I just was noticing, like, I'm not really getting anything. And I'm watching him get the $2 and $3 and $4 and $500. And I'm like, and sometimes I barely would get $50,
right?
You know, and I was just kind of like, I need a commercial printer. So fast forward, 2016, me and Ebony, that was the MTA bus operator that was killed in the accident. Me and her were at Staples, and I was actually doing obituaries for a friend of ours' son. And Ebony helped with that funeral. I mean, big time. And we were sitting in Staples trying to figure out how I could profit and get money from doing obituaries, because I'm the one sitting up all night. I'm the one
designing them.
Yeah, okay. I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and all he's doing, or Staples or anybody, all they're doing is pressing print, and they're getting the money. So we standing there, and we were asking the guy at Staples, how much does one of the commercial printers cost? And he said, well, they're a pretty penny. Take a stab at it. We were like 1,000, like that. And he said, well, this right here is a $10,000 printer. And both of us at the same time, excuse my language, we were like, damn, you know, both of us at the same time. And he said, yeah. And I said, well, I mean, my dreams of getting a commercial printer was like, I'm gonna have to wait a couple taxes, you know, and all of that. And so the very next day, I got that phone call that she died in the accident.
Oh, really?
The very
next
morning. I supposed to have been meeting her at 12 to give her the obituaries so that she can give them to the girl. I got that phone call, and I mean, it to this day, it still don't even seem real. And she told me, she said, B-I-T-C-H, if I die before you, you better do my obituaries. Me not thinking, you don't talk like that. You know, girl, shut up. You know, like, girl, be quiet. This and that. So when it happened, I was like, so they were like, well, Joe, are you going to be able to do it? I said, this is what she said to me. I ended up doing, you know, and that was the first magazine style obituary that I did, because I couldn't make it look like a standard, because I couldn't get past the first page.
Right.
So with that, my very last text to her before that happened was, I need to get me a commercial printer ASAP. That was my very last text message to her. And you know, with the red receipts and all, it just said delivered. Then like a couple hours later, I looked back at it and it said red. You understand? And I was just like, so with that, I said, you know what? I gotta get me a commercial printer. So for almost a year, it took me to make my mind up and say, well, forget it. I'm just going to make, you know, the whole GoFundMe page was kind of like, I was on the fence about it. Like, should I make it or shouldn't I make it? Sometimes you're worried about what people want to say. And this and that, whatever. So I asked about 3 girlfriends of mine. You know, I sent them a picture of the printer. I'm like, I was thinking about doing a GoFundMe page. What you think? And my mom has this thing where she says, stop asking for people approval. If you're going to do something, just do it. Because 2 people gave me the okay. And one friend that I thought would have been, I just didn't think that this would come out of her mouth. And she said, stop playing, you know. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. And she was like, oh, well, I want a $500K condo. So am I supposed to make a GoFundMe page to ask people to help me pay my mortgage? And she may have been joking, but I felt a certain type of way.
Of course.
You know, so I kind of like dismissed it, but my eyebrows was dinted, and I was looking at my phone for like trying to figure out how to reply to this without cursing, you know, her out. But then it was just like, because I felt like we were friends for so long that I thought you knew that I did obituaries. So she just, you know, made a statement like, well, you would have to go at this like a business. And I'm trying to figure out, why would I want a really big printer in my home? I'm not in school. My son isn't in school. if it wasn't for business. So needless to say, I kind of like brushed that off and I created my page, and it started off extremely slow. And I thought the minimum was $1 that you could donate, but it was actually $5. I'm just like, I got all these Facebook friends. So at the moment I was close to 5,000. Now I am at that 5,000 limit and I can't accept any more friends. That's why I went on ahead and created a business page and a business IG, and that's open. That's not private. You know, nobody has to send me a friend request. If you want to follow, you can just immediately follow at Lyfe Publications. So once I got my first donation, and it's crazy because his birthday is today. I did obituaries for, he was 17 when he got killed. His birthday is December the 20th today. His sister was the first person that donated, and she donated $40. I was crying like she donated like 400 or, you know, I was just, it was just exciting that I got a donation. And after that, $5 will come, 10, 15. And I was just glad that I didn't ask for a certain limit because they were donating what they wanted to donate. Then you were getting $200 and it was $100. And it was so surreal and amazing to me because a lot of GoFundMe pages, people donate when it's like a sickness or something. And all I was trying to do was get a printer. And so I just looked at it as an internship. All those years that I was doing it, it wasn't getting paid. I was looking at it as, okay, well, this is my internship. It's going to pay off later. And it did. And I created the page in October. December 29th of last year, I reached my goal and I dozed off. I had fell asleep and I needed $175. And I'm thinking a couple people donated $5. And then I woke up to all these text messages and congratulations, Joni, you did it. And I'm like, what? So I'm looking at the GoFundMe people. They emailed me. They said, because you are getting so many donations, we're not going to notify you every time a donation comes in anymore. We're going to wait and notify you hourly. And when I looked at that thing and saw that I was at my goal and that 2 twins that I went to school with, we went to school with Weston, only the best. Only the best, because when I say that's where the majority of the donations came in at was from my Dove sisters. You know, it wasn't close family. It wasn't even close friends. I had some friends throw some change on there when I got closer, you know, to the end. The thing about that is that's why you just can't have a lot of expectations because you will be disappointed. Yes, baby. Because I felt like they should have been the ones to start it off. You know, it shouldn't have been, let me jump on when you inches away from your goal. It is what it is. And that's just the way of the world. But needless to say, I reached my goal. And the time that printer came in my house, I've had something to do every day.
Girl, that is a blessing. Okay.
I mean, every day. And it went from obituaries to wedding invitations, baby shower invitations, party favors. I mean, you name it. I was just doing it. And I almost didn't go back to work. I swear I was on the fence. Okay, I love driving the bus, but I'm kind of sort of over the commute. But it's so crazy that now that I went back to work, everybody is so nice. You understand what I'm saying? It's like everything is going the way I want it to go. I get off at a decent time so I can still do the business on the side. This is for anybody who has a dream. Go for it. If you don't have the funds, put that pride to the side. Nobody ever choke off of swallowing their pride. And make that page. I've had some negative people talk about me in my absence, and it got back to me. The young lady was like, so who donated to Joe GoFundMe? Why? You can go on there and see who donated unless they chose to be anonymous. At the same time, we were just together at an event a week before, and you could have asked me or you could have asked them in front of me. I kind of felt like that was a little shade, you know, but it is what it is. And that didn't stop me though. And then I started shouting people out. And one thing I can say is when you start shouting people out, that's when I noticed the donations were coming faster than normal because you were acknowledging people. Oh, girl, people love recognition, baby. Exactly. And then I had a buddy say, here, take this 200 and put it towards your GoFundMe. Don't forget to shout me out. I said, is there anything in particular you want me to say? Because I will say whatever you want me to say. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm very, very, very humble. I didn't get cocky because I made this and I got this. And it just showed that people like you more than you think. And to do that and reach my goal and then get the support after that. I mean, you can't ask for nothing better than that.
It definitely goes to show, though, that you've obviously touched people.
Mm-hmm.
When you have sown good into people, when the good karma has been sown already, when you go and you ask, hey, I need this, you get nothing but people kind of trying to pour back into you. So it really does show to me like what type of person a person is if you can get that kind of a reaction.
Yeah.
So what I'll say to some queens, and this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but y'all know, honey, I love me some unpopular opinions. If you want to do something, you do need funding. Yes, we can all be self-sufficient and we can, you know, try to put that burden on our own back and come up with it on our own. But there's people around you for a reason, right? There are people that I ain't never met a day in my life that support me in my business, every business that I've started. Right. I've never met these people a day in my life, like physically, but I've developed friendships with them just from social media.
Yeah.
And they've supported, purchased things from me. And it's not even about the money. Sometimes it's just a shout out. It's the recognition. It's a DM that says, girl, you inspire me or whatever.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you look at that, there's a community of people around all of us who are willing to support what we believe in and support a person that we feel like is sown into us positively. And if you don't have that, queens, then you have to look at yourself and try to figure out, like, what are you pouring into the people in the community around you if you're not getting that kind of support? Because if you're pouring into people and it's genuine and it's real and it's honest, it's going to come right back. So when you do stuff like what you did and you start the GoFundMe to fund your dream, that's why you got such a good positive reaction, because obviously you're pouring into other people in a very positive way. So when you ask, they like, hey, I don't have a problem with giving back.
And then they see that it wasn't one of those GoFundMe pages created just to get money and not do what I said I was going to do with the money.
Right.
That's one thing. With the GoFundMe page, you can get that money and they can deposit it and you don't have to get that printer. Oh, Lord. That would have been all over us. You know, social media. Social media is crazy. It has its perks and it has its...
You live and die by it.
Lord.
You can live and die by it. That's for sure.
So that's the one thing. And even back to Checkmate, I've been writing, but it wasn't until that moment that I made an announcement on social media that I was putting a book out that I had to go through with it because I didn't want to look like a liar. It's like, once you put it out there, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, you gotta go for it. Now you all in.
Yep.
Because you done made that announcement to everybody. So you don't want people seeing you saying, well, I thought you was writing a book.
Right.
What happened to your book?
Girl, you know, it's funny. I used to do that all the time because, you know, I'm a serial entrepreneur and then started 18,000 businesses. And I used to do that. And I was like, okay, this is coming. I'm about to do this. And what I've learned over like the last 3-4 years, I don't even do that anymore.
Right.
I don't even make like when I started the podcast, I don't say one word. You'll know as soon as once I release it, then it's like, oh, hey, y'all, here's the episode when I started the podcast. And people was like, wait, what? When did you do that? I don't even make an announcement anymore because I don't trust myself.
It's like, and that was me. I would start something and then don't finish it.
Me too.
So it was just like, okay, like now people are saying, well, where your next book at? What you doing? This is that. I didn't went way somewhere else and I'm making stuff now.
Exactly.
Like, and I still, it's just confirmation because a lot of people then reached out to me that went back and grabbed Checkmate and reread it. Girl, what you doing? Where's your next book? I can't really call it Checkmate too because Checkmate is the end of the game.
Right.
So if you still want those characters, I have to make a whole different title. It can't be really related to chess. I can just take those characters and if you want to know what happened to them later on. I don't even know these people in this book. I really made these people up off the top of my head based on the definitions of chess. And it was just amazing to hear people talk about them.
Like they was real people.
Like they were real people. I'll get back into that. I'm like you. I'm a little bit everywhere. And I got my hand in this and my foot in this. And
yeah. It's hard to stay focused though when you like you
got so many ideas.
Yeah.
You just,
and girl. And I think too, like when you act on an idea, because most people don't. Like most people, it's so many people have great ideas, but they never trust themselves enough to do anything about it. So I think that first time that you actually do something about it, it's like you open up this floodgate and now so many ideas hit you and then it's hard to stay focused
on that one particular one.
Yeah. That's been my struggle
and
the
you
whole
don't
time.
you don't really want to put yourself in a box.
Exactly.
Because, you know, a lot of times you have certain dreams, but God got bigger plans.
Yep.
And you be so comfortable with wherever you at, but then you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
You know,
Yep.
and it's just like, whoa, wait a minute, I ain't see this coming. You know, like when that phone was ringing and I'm getting all these different orders and stuff that I don't know how to price because I never sold it,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
but I can do it. And I'm like, oh, how much is such a, so I will go on Etsy and I'll see whatever Etsy is charging. And then I'll take like probably 50 cents or $1 off just to be cheaper than what it is on Etsy. I really don't know. But if you ask me anything about obituaries, I can say, well, this is XYZ, this is XYZ,
right.
this is this style, da 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 da. I can run that to you with my eyes closed. But you come to me and say, well, how much are shot glasses? And give me a second, I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Go on Etsy, figure it out. And then I say, you know what? I need to set myself a price list. That needs to be my next focus. I need to take the time and do a lot of inventory and set up because you just never know. People come and call you and ask for some amazing stuff that
right.
you're like, why do you think I can make that? Like, I love putting smiles on people's face. Like you said, it's not always about the money.
Right.
So if I can do something, like I made a mistake on something and then I turned around and I didn't charge extra because at the same time you want your work to get out there.
Exactly.
You want them to see
right.
your stuff. So even if you had to take a loss as far as the profit, you still put it out there and then you got more customers coming in on, okay, I want this or whatever. But they don't know you just took that loss.
Right.
And you pretty much paid for the stuff yourself. You didn't make anything. Like I said, I always go back to acknowledging him. I owe it all to God. All of it.
Yep.
Everything. Even when we get into this men stuff, I owe that all to God.
Girl,
because
yes.
a lot of times when stuff don't go right, man's rejection is God's protection. You know?
Yep.
And you cannot see for the life of you, like, well, what's wrong? I got this going for myself. I got this going for myself. You know, why am I not even lasting like 30 days with these guys? Because God not going to waste your time.
Yes.
You know,
Yep.
So it's like you done been through enough. How much time you want to waste?
Yep.
So whether he lasts for 30 days or 30 seconds, he wasn't meant to be there.
Absolutely.
So
this is what we're going to do. We are going to make part 2, and this part of the episode is part 1. That's what we're going to do, because I definitely want to get into talking about the men, honey, the kings without the crowns, because I'm not going to put our men down because some of them just broken and they need some healing. So we're going to still call them kings. We're going to still acknowledge them, but we're going to say they don't have their crowns right now. So I want to say thank you for talking about the business piece, the entrepreneur piece, because it's so inspirational. I also totally forgot, because you carry yourself so well with so much faith and so much power and strength. I forgot about the lupus.
Yes.
Of course, I obviously know that you struggle with that as well. So, Queens, I love to invite strong women to the show who are overcoming so many different obstacles. And that's why I created All Queens Army, because we really do carry so much on our back. And every woman who has come on the show has a story. Yep. Just like all of you queens out there listening, we all have a story of everything that we're dealing with. But yet we still sprinkle all of the magic all over everything we do every day. And we do it so effortlessly that other people don't really even understand how difficult it is to be a single mom dealing with lupus, running a business, being an author. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot. It's a lot on your plate. And for us, it's like, I think people take for granted our strength because we do what we do, again, so effortlessly and so graciously that it doesn't look hard. Yeah. But I think between us as women, especially women of color, we know it's not that simple. It's just not like it looks like it because we strong.
Because you make it look easy. Yeah,
because you just do what you got to do. But at the end of the day, when we all close our front doors and, we're just within the 4 walls of our homes, sometimes it's tears shed. Sometimes, it's a lot because it's very, very difficult.
People don't even know the half, of, and I don't like my son to see me break down or cry. So I will hold all of that back and I might end up waiting until either I'll get in my car, or I'll be, when I'm in a house by myself and just let go, and then I'll just cry out, and I'll even, I just thank God, and through the good and the bad. And one thing I will say, I saw a post, it was a saying a long time ago, and I kept that with me, and it said, broken crayon still color. And I just want to speak with just to anybody who's been damaged, whether it's been in an abusive relationship or just failed relationships, kids, any kind of molestation, whatever.
Right.
It's like if you take a crayon, for some people who might not get it, if you take a brand new crayon or old rusty crayon and you take and break it in half, you had a red crayon and you were coloring in red. You broke the crayon, you break the crayon, and it's still gonna color that same color.
Yes.
So, and it's just like, I said that to say, whatever you are going through, broken crayons still color.
Absolutely.
And I mean, and that goes a long way. And all you got to do is just keep that in the back of your mind. You're that broken crayon, but you still got to press forward. You still got to keep it moving. You can't just stop and just let everything just go just like that. If you got a dream, I'm going to say it again, follow it, chase it down until you on its heels. And I mean, and you don't limit yourself. Don't put yourself in a box and say, oh, I'm just good enough to do this. You have no idea what you got inside yourself.
That's right.
None whatsoever. Again, once you limit yourself, it's like, all right, well, I mean,
you can only do what you believe you can do. So
exactly.
We do have to be careful. And again, it's why I like to motivate women. The magic inside of us is just, there's no word for it. Right. It's really supernatural, to be honest. It's so much power and so much positivity that it's so much that we do. And again, we sprinkle our magic on it. And it's like other people of other ethnicities don't really understand what we have inside of us. And I think, unfortunately, and because of some of the things society pours into us, we don't really understand it either.
Right.
But once you really understand that you have the power to accomplish, to be anything, baby, it's nothing that can hold you back in it. And I agree with you. And thank you for saying it all starts with your mindset and what you think. So if you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you can't. If you think it's possible, it is. And if you think it's not possible, it's not. So whatever you think and whatever you believe is also why I read so much. Like I am addicted to reading. I read and read and read, and I watch a lot of YouTube videos. Like I purposely choose to put in my mind positivity because everything else that we see, if you just watch what you're given, it's all negative. It's all limiting. It's all fear based. So if you believe in the power of the positive thought, the power of what we are and who we are, baby, you can accomplish anything and you can overcome it all. Absolutely. So with that being said, we're going to wrap up part 1 of this episode. I am going to tag, as promised, Lyfe Publications, as well as the Amazon link for Checkmate, which is Joni's book. So thank you so much for talking about that and for motivating the queens, because trust me, they really appreciate it. I always get comments. I always get DMs, emails when guests come on and they talk, and then people are like, oh my gosh, that was so inspiring. Oh, she's so strong. And so it's so wonderful that we are courageous enough for you specifically to share your story. So thank you so much. So we are checking out of part 1 of this episode, and we're going to keep going, y'all. So we're going to have part 2, and Jonean is going to tell us about her struggles with the kings with no crown, with the men, honey, because the struggle is real, and we're going to talk about that. So make sure you queens tune in to part 2 of this particular episode. Again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And queens, tune in to part 2. Make sure you follow us at All Queens Army on Instagram and on Facebook. Okay. Love you, queens. I will talk to you guys shortly.
Thank you for listening to the All Queens Army podcast. If you want to connect with Breizy Time and the All Queens Army, be sure to follow them on IG and Facebook at All Queens Army. Or head over and check out the All Queens Army YouTube channel. Until next time.